for October the 16th, 2015, and live from a Portland hotel room. Actually, it's just this part, the intro, that is live from the hotel room. I forgot to record it at home, folks, and I'm talking into a laptop, sorry. We talk about the future of Square Enix localizations, SOMA, and we ask you what games you play when you're traveling. Welcome to level 124.
My name is Kole Ross.
I'm Dennis Furia.
And I'm Ben Merkel.
And you're listening to The Level. It's a podcast for people who love video games. We're kicking it 3 style this week in the run-up to the Portland Retro Games Expo. Thanks for joining us. That goes to both of you, Ben and Dennis, and also to the listeners.
They can't answer back?
I mean, well, they can't leave comments anymore, but they can, they can interact with us in the known channels.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I always thought they were just sitting here silently. I was wondering why no one was talking this entire time.
I just thought they were shy.
20 episodes plus. And
You say 20 episodes plus?
I said 120 episodes.
Okay, there we go. Skype. Yeah. So I'm sitting here furiously F5ing the FedEx page. Apparently my Steam controller shipped, and it's due here tomorrow. So if it shows up on Wednesday, as of, the week that this comes out, then I'll be able to take it to Portland Retro Games Expo and use it at my hotel when I'm decompressing. So, and then I'll be able to talk about it next week.
Yeah, that's coming up this weekend?
Yes, that is this weekend. In fact, as people are listening to this, I'm probably uploading this from shitty hotel Wi-Fi and getting ready for the show.
Nice.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. Yeah, I don't know. Anybody have any anecdotes?
Anecdotes.
Dennis, people don't know this. We've alluded to this a couple times, but you're fighting cats constantly when we're recording, right?
Yeah, they love. It's something about the podcast specifically too. Maybe it's the sound of my voice. I don't know. But
it's like, hey, you're talking. Talk to me. They're trying to get in front of you to absorb your talking words.
So they try to close the computer lid. They try to knock my hand around on the mouse. They try to knock the chairs over next to me. It's pretty intense.
Oh, well, so I was about to suggest like a coffee can full of pennies, but that would be terrible. I don't want to have to mute that. Oh, well.
It's super effective. We don't have to. I don't have to deal with the cats anymore. Now just everyone else has to deal with the sound.
Yeah.
That's at least they are silent assassins.
Yeah, that is true. Like Agent 47. Yeah.
Who's not in the Steam sale, but maybe we'll get to that.
Maybe. Yeah, that was pretty cool. They just sprung that on us with very good timing for the WAF poll that's up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. What's the WAF poll that's up?
It is for an autumn stealth game. So let's see if I can do this off at the top of my head. We've got Hitman. You might have a couple of maybe a day left to vote in this if you're a Patreon backer, and you've probably already done it. But it's Hitman Blood Money, Siren Blood Curse, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, Tenchu Stealth Assassin, or Thief Deadly Shadows.
Since there's only a day left, can you tell us what's in the running? Like what's going to be the winner? Probably.
It's actually pretty close among the top 3.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I could actually, I could actually sway it by saying like what's here.
It's good though. It's good to hear that there are healthy competitors.
I know, right? Like, so a lot of people, they say, "Oh, this is the most agonizing one yet," and I'm glad that I'm causing people this much discomfort. Like that. I'm glad that it's that it's making them think. Because if it was a just nothing but net, that'd be boring, right?
Mm-hmm. What's the point of a poll?
Yeah, we'd just do that game. Yeah, so that's cool. I don't know. Stealth games are neat. I'm looking forward to playing Stealth Inc. from my couch with my Steam controller if FedEx is not lying with me.
Is that also called Stealth Bastard?
No, you're thinking of Invisible Inc., which used to be called Stealth Bastard.
Okay, so those two are the same thing.
Oh, wait, Invisible, you know what? I don't even know. Stealth Inc.,
Stealth Inc. and I think Stealth Bastard are the same. At least the art for the two looks similar. I saw that in the sale, which is recently ending. If you're listening to this on a Friday, or
Is it ink with a K or ink with a C?
With a C. Okay, Stealth Ink is related to Invisible Bastard. Invisible Ink is the one from the same team that did Don't Starve.
Oh, and that's the turn-based stealth game, right?
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, which I have, but I don't want to sit at a desk and play a game like a barbarian. Yeah. Well, I think we've gotten the requisite amount of banter in at the beginning here.
Banter.
Yes. So we've got the usual kind of show for you tonight, probably a little bit on the briefer side, although I always jinx us when I say that. But we've got the brief where we're going to be talking about some things that are happening. We've got the multiplayer, which is our listener interaction portion. And we've got the grind where we're talking about some things that we have been playing. And guys, I've got an exciting one because I'm ambivalent about it. But that'll come in
that
due
doesn't
time.
sound exciting.
I want to have an argument with myself in front of you guys. But in due time, before that, we have the brief, where we talk about what's happening in the world of video games around us. Does anybody have a story they want to throw in first?
I got one.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so this one is about Spelunky, a kind of perennial favorite of my own and many other people who I know listen. And it's that another world record for Spelunky has been felled. This is the world record for highest score. And the crazy thing about this is that it took 5.5 hours to reach this record, which is mind-boggling given the difficulty of the game.
I can't make a round of Spelunky last more than 5.5 minutes.
No, neither can I. The world record for speed, by the way, is like, where is it? 101 seconds, I think. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of crazy to see that the most compressed version and the most drawn out version. But it's even crazier when you consider that 2.5 minutes into every single level in Spelunky, it sends a gigantic ghost after you that takes up like a quarter of the screen. Mm-hmm. So to last 5.5 hours, where the vast majority of that time you're being chased by a gigantic ghost, is just mind-boggling. I watched some of the video. I don't understand what I saw at all. It's just nuts. So he got the jetpack as like the first crate he broke open. Yeah. Which just that doesn't happen. And then just it was all. I won't say it was all downhill from there, because that is doing a horrible disservice to the amazing feat this guy has accomplished. But
that put things in line for him to have the run that he did.
That gave a master his tools. And it was amazing to watch from there on out. But apparently I didn't know this. If the ghost touches a gem that's just sitting around in the level, it like turns it silver and makes it worth more, I imagine. So apparently this guy's strategy is like go through the level, open up everything, and then have the ghost chase you all over the place, which again, just getting from one side of the level to the other is nigh impossible for me. So to be able to do that strategically so the ghost is hitting the gems and not you, while still dodging all the traps, which you may or may not have set off throughout the level, and remembering which ones are still armed versus not armed. And oh my God, like it's just incredible to watch. But it gets even more insane because the winning score beat the old record by less than $5,000. Which is literally one pickup.
Yep.
So 5.5 hours of play came down to like one little gem. It's amazing in every sense of the word.
Do you know how long the previous record was, or like how long it took him to do it?
I would imagine that in the same amount of time. I don't see it in the article though. If they have it,
it would have to be somewhere on the same order of magnitude.
Yeah, just to be able to get to everything. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just incredible work. The guy's name, let me see if I can find that. See,
so people know that's not a smoke alarm in Dennis's background. That's an oven, I think.
Damn, sorry, that's a timer. There's some hardcore baking going on in the other room, and I'm not going to disturb it for the podcast because I know I get wonderful treats at the end of it. So
none of us blame you.
No, it is. There's another work of art happening in the other room. So. But the world record work of art.
Wait a minute, somebody's painting 2 rooms over?
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's Luke. He's in the advanced art class for his. We're hoping to start getting commissions soon. But yeah, Kinajup, it looks like is the name of the person who did it. So yeah, very cool.
Nice. It's awesome. So this game, like the original version of this game, came out in 2008, I think. If let me see here, not looking at Wikipedia. Yep, 2008. Before the remake came out in 2012 and 2013. It's crazy how mature that community is. That
Yeah, it's got some really good longevity.
Yeah. So
for a while there was a site that posted a because they have like daily quests or daily kind of shared seeds level. And for a while there was a site that would post like a run of every single one of those. I think it's fell off, but
yeah, it fell off around the time that I brought it up on the podcast first, and like those are good. Like so all of those record videos are great because you're watching them. However, the daily run ones were better to my mind, or at least more entertaining because there was commentary.
Sure, yeah.
Over top of it. And if somebody's going for a record, I understand why they're not trying to explain as they're doing this incredibly demanding thing.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, that's my brief.
Well, that is cool to know. Do you know, did they do it on PC or did they do it on Vita? Like what?
Oh, that's a great question. I have to imagine it was on PC.
Yeah.
Like there's no way it wasn't on PC, especially the guy's got a recording of it. So that tells me at the very least it wasn't on Vita.
Yeah.
Without some serious hardware. I don't see it specifically said in the article, but I have to imagine PC because all good things happen on PC, right?
I think so.
Filling in for David while he's gone.
No, he's switched over to Mac now.
Yeah, filling over for old David while he's gone.
The ghost of David Patz.
Yeah, no, I mean, like good stuff happens on PC. It's fine. And I think PC includes Mac. I know there are a lot of people sharpening their axes as I say that, but like if you're sitting at a computer,
it's artisan, craft made axes though.
Artisanal. No, I'm talking about from the PC side. I don't care.
Oh, I see.
What happens from the Mac side because I've come out on their side, so like they're going to be here to back me up. But
sure.
Yeah. People know what I mean, and if they don't, I am sorry. That's your problem. Ben, what's your story?
So the story I have is I can't remember if we've talked about the game Firewatch or not. Do you remember?
Yeah, it's come up.
All right. They announced a release date for it this week. It's coming out February 9th, and it's going to come out for Linux, Windows, and PS4 and Mac. So,
yes, I was going to say, if Linux is on there, Mac is on there too.
Yeah. So it has a release date. I don't remember hearing too much about it until reading the article about it. But it basically centers around you being a volunteer firefighter, more or less. You're basically alone in a forest and you're watching for fire hazards and forest fires. And then you have a radio with which you contact Delilah is the only person. And apparently the game centers on exploring the world and then your relationship with the person that you're talking to on the radio.
Yeah, it looks really great. Like it's set in like Wyoming, I think. And and you're somebody who like lives in these outposts in this incredibly lonely kind of environment. And it's made by the guys A, who did the first season of Walking Dead, and B, who do the Idle Thumbs podcast. So I'm excited on both counts. Yeah.
The setting, it looks almost like Journey, or it looks similar to that, where you're alone in the environment, and it's very red, at least from the screenshots that they provided in the article.
Yeah.
But yeah,
there was some really good gameplay footage at the E3 Sony event.
Yeah. Okay. I think the game does an amazing. I recently went cabining, so out in nature and stuff, and it struck me how well the game captures just the sense of how quickly things can go from beautiful to alien and scary in nature, especially if you're out there alone.
Yeah. No, it looks really good. Speaking of that, we were talking about Kole games. Ollie Moss is the graphic designer on this. He came over from that side after doing like Mark of the Ninja and Shank in those games. So like they've got some chops behind them.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm curious about this. Like it's definitely going to be another one in kind of that Gone Home style storytelling. Also, if people are interested in Gone Home, we just did a bonfireside chat with Steve Gaynor from the Fulbright Company, another
Nice.
Idle Thumbs alum who did who was the lead designer behind the old Gone Home, and that was really cool. That's the one about it's the episode about the Yahar Ghul, the Unseen Village.
That's pretty cool to hear, like, another game developer, like, gush about another game,
Yeah. I mean, not to do a postmortem on a thing that we did, but like, it was awesome to hear him like pick up these environmental storytelling things, because that's what he does.
Yeah.
So, not to gush too much, but it was a good time.
And that's like the perfect game for environmental storytelling.
It's a good series for it.
Yeah.
What do you got, Kole?
Oh, okay. Thank you for pushing me along. No. So
What, are you trying to draw this podcast out or something?
not really. I've still got work to do, guys. No. But so this one is about localization. Usually there are these games that don't come over here, even still today. This was a much bigger thing back in like the PS1 era, maybe PS2, but even still today, there are games that just don't come over here. A lot of them are RPGs with lots of text, and a lot of those RPGs are developed by Square Enix. And Square Enix, like any number of these big companies, they have different branches and different regions, and they all kind of do the same thing, but they don't really talk to each other that much. There was an interview in Game Informer. Phil Rogers, the CEO of Square Enix Europe, basically came out and said, yeah, like, everybody who wants these RPGs to be translated or localized doesn't really understand what a risk that is for us. And we've tried talking with Square Japan or whatever to make this a priority, just because, you can't, unless you're developing it for all languages at the same time, it gets difficult if it's a mainline franchise, et cetera, et cetera. So what they did to get to the point here is, or what this guy said was, they would be open to crowdfunding localizations.
Okay.
Basically,
that's awesome.
Basically saying, if you want it, you gots to pay up front, as a way to actually kind of justify the business case for it.
That seems fair.
Sorry, and when you said crowdsourced, I took it to like the talent or the translators would be like.
No, I'm talking about crowdfunding. I'm sorry, I must have misspoke. So if this was Nintendo coming out and saying, you know what, we're going to work with our lawyers to get the Mother 3 translation and put that out there, A-okay, fine and dandy, like sour candy. However, this is crowdfunding, which I don't know how I feel about that. On one hand, it means
that's a little shadier.
On one hand, it means that it means that there will be more of these games that people are interested in, kind of coming over here, right? Like, more games is better than, right? Maybe.
No, absolutely.
Like, just a bigger variety for more people, and it gives people the direct ability to say, like, hey, I'll put my money where my mouth is, quite literally. And make it so that, like, this one factor, the money, isn't stopping you. However, the reason that I get kind of hesitant about it, and I could be entirely wrong here, it's likely that I am, is that what happens if Square Enix looks at that and says, well, we just won't translate a game unless we have the money up front. So maybe those first couple of projects get funded because of the novelty, and then all of a sudden everybody is essentially doing a 2 years ahead pre-order, which is what most crowdfunding is.
Yeah, it's always hard to judge something by the standard of, if everybody does it, will it break things? Because the answer is yes for 90% of things in that case. I hope they're trying to do this for the retroactive, most companies have plenty of current projects that they're working on, and there just isn't a ton of capacity sitting around for someone to go and do this stuff, retroactively. So I could see this being a way to be like, hey, we are never going to do this stuff retroactively. We have enough stuff going on currently. We can't spend time on the past. So this is a way for the community to speak loud enough and say, yes, absolutely, this is what we want.
Yeah. Like,
I think.
go ahead.
I was going to say, I think the quality of the decision is very dependent upon how much they're charging people for doing it, or like, because I mean, if it's just to cover their own costs, then I think that's fair. But
yeah. I would never expect them to do it out of the goodness of their heart. Like, I know that there are cases where, like, Xenoblade Chronicles, they brought that over under really high pressure, but the distribution deal was weird. They could only do it on Wii through GameStop, and then it only sold 50 copies because they only made 50 copies, and now they're basically remaking it so they can get it again. Like, it gets really hairy. I don't know. That ends up being a little bit weird. If it is just a forum for people to express their intent to buy, then yeah, sure, cool. But I don't know. There's just something about it feels a little bit off.
No, I stand by my original understanding, which is they should open up their old games to crowdsourced translation.
Yeah,
just be like, if you can show any kind of level of competency or accreditation in this language, you are welcome to take a crack. Then maybe like we need a second person to proofread for us or something like that. But
yeah,
that could be really cool.
Yeah, or it goes through and like it passes our own like quality assurance or something like that. Like,
yeah, sure.
I mean, at a certain point, doesn't that become like the fan cuts of Star Wars movies? Where it's like, okay, people have gone back and found the best sources possible to kind of put this together to rectify any problems that are there to make this the best that it can be. This is the community taking ownership of something that's not really theirs, but more power kind of to them, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's
like, at the end of the day, that's who you're making it for.
Exactly.
There's nobody else.
That's why I had a little bit of doubt in that, because that is a fraught conversation. But like, imagine if Square said, you know what, the translation behind Final Fantasy VII kind of sucks. What if we put loose the actual text, in the original language, and we said, hey, whatever team out there, if you can put together something that's better, send it our way and we'll take a look at it and we're going to figure it out. So that way, like, you leave it as an option to get the original translation or a later one, but it is not like this huge monolithic effort from within the company. It's actually put together. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, that assumes that they're not remaking Final Fantasy VII, which we know they are. So I will pick a different game and say Chrono Cross. So yeah, that is one comment, maybe a one person in one branch of a very big company. Who knows if that's actually going to come to fruition? But I just wanted to bring that up because that seems interesting. And it seems like an interesting development. It's one step up from these big developers going and making their bloodstains and whatnot.
Yeah, there's such a natural resistance to change in any given industry. It's always nice to see something, changing or being innovated on. So I'm all for new models just in terms of, hey, let's try things, see if we can shake something up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could be good. I would like to bank on it being good. I don't know. My gut is flashing alarms, but not in the usual way.
Multiplayer.
Now it is time for the multiplayer section where we go through and interact with you all. I actually put forward this question in a rare showing from Kole, showing initiative.
Kole from downtown.
Yeah, Kole from downtown for the first time in months. No, but I'm getting ready for this trip, and I know this will shock you guys, but I don't really have a ritual for travel. I only do it like once a year. And I pretty much just play whatever's there. But I want to find out what games or other entertainment do people, do our listeners, really kind of engage with best during travel? Like, are there any flight, car ride, or hotel room gaming rituals that just kind of ease the stress and make you feel a little bit more at home?
Sure.
Yeah. So, Dennis, what does Mike say?
Mike says, when I travel, I usually revisit a classic game series on portables. Nothing makes a plane ride fly by like tackling a Zelda game or seeing how far I can get into the Mega Man Zero collection. More complex games usually stress me out if I'm not settled in, but my familiarity with these old series make them ideal for pick up and play. I like that concept of like a game that is traditionally known for being difficult or confusing. It's like if you've been through it before, it kind of makes it easier to revisit and kind of almost background noise or better background noise.
Knowledge compresses space.
Yep.
Yeah.
What?
Knowledge compresses space. If
I
you-
don't know what that means.
It's something that we say mostly on Bonfire Side Chat, but also whenever we talk about like backtracking and stuff. Like if you've played a game and if you know kind of the size and shape of the game and the area, like going through it again, it is shorter and it feels a little bit more comprehensible, and you're looking at it through different eyes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. That's funny because Mega Man Zero, it's my understanding that those games are just balls hard, so I couldn't imagine playing this on a plane. Oh. Ben, what does Amanda say?
Amanda says, I tend to replay Final Fantasy VI, the Game Boy Advance version, when I travel, mostly grinding and leveling up characters to pass the time.
That's a good one.
So this is returning to an old save on maybe a finished game or mostly finished game and just getting your characters to insanely high levels.
I think so.
So what is there a level cap in Final Fantasy games? I like the whole limit break end game of Final Fantasy is completely foreign to me.
It's usually 99, but there are oftentimes other systems that you can level beyond that. So like you can get everybody to level 99 in Final Fantasy VII. However, you can also level up all of your materia.
Okay, gotcha.
Which is, somewhere on the order of like 70 little gems that you can max out by getting a different kind of experience points. And on down the line.
And I almost feel like I missed the window where I would spend that much time on any one game. Like, it's not a bad thing. It's just a thing that is not really...
It's harder to do now.
Experience. Yeah.
It's harder to justify. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you most certainly did. You fucked up. Let's see here.
Not every game is The Witcher 3.
Let's see here. Chase writes in saying, growing up, Pokemon and Pokemon
You went into that one hot, Cole.
Yes, I did. Growing up, Pokemon and Pokemon styled games were my travel buddies. It was the perfect combination of solo grindy time and social trading, or breeding in the case of Dragon Warrior Monster, when I got to my destination and met the other kids. And Legos. A set of Legos and Tupperware in a Tupperware container made for a great Game Boy.
Tupperware.
Oh, there we go. Tupperware.
There we go.
I'm just picturing Tupperware, except instead of burping, it goes boom, 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 boom. Yeah, okay, Tupperware. A Tupperware container made for a great Game Boy break. Yeah, you got to rest your eyes, especially on the road. Yeah. Again, one more in the grinding category.
Yeah.
That's going to be a theme here, if I can give a peek beyond the veil.
A peek into the next 10 minutes
Spoilers.
or so. Ben, this is getting out of hand.
Yeah, I know. Even that one I was joking. I have my limits.
Let's hear,
sure.
Dennis, what does Gordon say?
Gordon says Monster Hunter on the 3DS. All the games have basically indefinite amounts of optional grinding, but really engaging gameplay. That's the sweet spot. Something that has a lot of grinding, but is fun to grind.
I mean, it seems like you're just looking for something interesting to do with your hands, right?
Yeah, you could shuffle cards for the entire plane ride.
I mean, yeah, you can shuffle cards and try and remember as much of the script to Platoon as you as you can.
Oh man, I had someone do not the script to Platoon, but the script to The Matrix. I had someone recount the Matrix movie to me, like scene for scene, word for word, as far as they could.
Did they open palm slam the VHS into their VCR and do all the moves along with it?
Almost. I think we were at like an outdoorsy camp and we were bored.
It's like, tell me a story. Let me tell you a story of the chosen one, or the
Fade
one
in,
for sure.
Yeah.
Smash cut 2. That is funny. Had you seen The Matrix?
I had not at that point. And
Oh,
that's what
wow.
came up as like, I was like, oh yeah, I haven't seen that. And you're like, you haven't seen it? Oh my God, it's the greatest movie ever. You see?
Let me
And then,
ruin
like,
it for you.
Yeah.
Let me slowly ruin it for you in real time.
Hey, funny enough, it did not ruin it for me. I saw it shortly thereafter and enjoyed it greatly.
When was this, by the way? Was this like a year ago or like 10 years ago?
This was like summer camp when I was in grade school. So
Okay,
way
all right.
long.
Okay. Let's see here, Ben. What does Paul say?
Paul says, recently, a few months ago, Binding of Isaac Rebirth on Vita while watching Eastbound and Down Marathon on my phone in a hotel room. 80 days on the iPhone and the plane and reading. I like to read a book with a sense of the place I'm going, like Walden for the outside
For the area
Boston.
outside.
Oh, for the area out. Sorry, excuse me. Lake Walden for the area outside of Boston, and Confederacy of Dunces for New Orleans. It would be cool to play games that would be themed for a place too, if I could think of any, and they were portable.
You play Disgaea if you're going to hell.
Wow.
I mean, no, not like I'm not suggesting you go there.
just if, you know.
Yeah. Oh man.
Passing out judgment on the podcast, Cole.
No, I don't assume that power yet.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Man, I really wish that I could still read or play games in a moving vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
That I read all of the first Harry Potter on the way back from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina one time. Like, I was just, sitting in the back. If I so much as read a billboard in a car, I get nauseous now.
Just got to go full in. You got to get an Oculus and then do it that way.
Get counteracted.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like even on a plane, like I just have to pop earbuds in and listen to 4 hours of podcasts with my eyes closed.
Mm-hmm. So it's one episode of Hardcore History.
I know, right? I should do that. I should like get one of my favorite episodes of Hardcore History for the flight to Salt Lake City. And then let's just do like an episode of Video Games Hot Dog for the flight from Salt Lake City to Portland. Let's see here. Alan writes in saying, I learned to complete the Rubik's Cube recently, so while flying, I idly solve and restart it while watching movies. Also, I bring a book for the portion of the flight where no electronics can be on because, like Kole, I can't stand to not have input for every waking minute. Smiley face emoticon. Yeah. I'm surprised. Where did you get an electric Rubik's Cube, Alan? What does that accomplish? Does it light up? Let's see here.
That'd be kind of cool. Now I'm like engineering that in my mind.
I should get a Rubik's Cube for my desk. I don't know how to solve one, but I'm accumulating both skulls, skeleton toys, and little toys as well. I've got a Slinky that I play with idly at all times.
Do you have a Newton's cradle?
No. That
cool.
would be irritating.
I know what I'm getting you for your next birthday and or Christmas.
Well, why would you do that to my desk mates? Let's see here. Dennis, what does Carlo say?
Carlo says Disgaea. Disgaea? There it is. Disgaea. It's the AE weird thing that usually they're connected if it's a fancy font.
It's a ligature.
Yeah.
Disgaea.
Any version on Vita. There's just so much to do, and it's very silly, which eases my playing anxiety. Nice.
If it's just your plain anxiety, like at least it's not like, some kind of fancy anxiety. your anxiety wouldn't be shunned by the Mennonites.
That's a joke only for the listeners.
What?
Who are not reading the text.
Yeah. Oh, everybody, I should have said at the beginning, don't go read these.
Off limits.
Homophones. Let's see here. Ben, what does Ollie say?
Ollie says, I read a lot when traveling. Planes, trains, and buses all see me with my head stuck in a book. As much as I love games, I've never found a portable system that I've really liked. They always seem to have drawbacks like awkward or forced touchscreen control systems, so I just read. The Wheel of Time has made many a journey more interesting.
Yeah. I should probably... I like reading in hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like watching a television in a hotel room because you see commercials, but reading in a hotel room is good.
Fair enough.
Let's see here. Robin writes in saying, I just got back from a short transatlantic trip, which included 2 9-hour flights and 2 5-hour train rides. Oh my God.
I am
That's
sorry.
a lot of
You've
traveling.
been broken of all your humanity. He's probably feral now.
Yeah, you're a sky person now. I finally had a chance to work through my mobile backlog on my phone, iPad, and 3DS. Holy shit. Games that are otherwise fantastic, but I can never find the time to finish up when I'm up against my massive console and Steam backlogs. This trip included finishing 80 Days, Sorcery, FE Awakening, I don't know, and Inazuma 11. Also took a chunk out of my podcast backlog, too.
So this brings up a good idea. Maybe we should do an 80 days trip for Kole where he has to try and complete his backlog during the 80 days.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. I don't know if there are enough hours.
No, there aren't. I've calculated it before, and it's only gotten bigger in the intervening years. Yeah, I would have to go through and like decide which games I actually want to play.
Ooh, that sounds terrible.
I recently joined the Game Exchange channel on the Slack just because I was like, oh, people are sharing games that are cool that they have to share. And then I had the realization upon like just starting to read the titles, like I already don't have time for the stuff that's given to me for free through like PlayStation Plus alone, let alone the stuff I buy or get for free through other mediums. Like you're never going to get through all the content.
Nope.
So stop trying, have fun with whatever you are playing.
Why can't there be less good stuff? Dennis, what does Gary say?
Gary says, it's tradition that I buy a Pokemon game I've never played before I fly back home. Mindless grinding goes really well with an environment that makes me nauseous to read and where I'm constantly distracted. It also makes a great sleep aid for strange hotel beds. Another one of those negative qualifiers for the genre, but I can't argue that it doesn't work. Play this game, it'll put you to sleep.
I mean, that's like, I'll say that about a show or a book. You know,
sure.
Like, yeah, no, this is interesting. Like, it engrosses you until you're too exhausted to stay awake.
Here's the problem with that. The way that I play most video games lying in bed, if I ever get to the point where I'm actually going to fall asleep, I drop the handheld on my face.
Oh yeah.
So it's got its own, like, you know, it's almost perfect for it if I could just have something that, like, you know, a little parachute on it that would, you know, send it off to the side.
How long are your arms?
Just real quick. Neanderthal, man. This is true. None of my shirts fit right because my arms are just slightly long for my body, and so everything looks like it's too small on me, even if it fits perfectly in other areas. But they're not quite that long, so I need like maybe like a jetpack system, or I'm sure there's a way to solve it. Yeah.
I don't know. I think that there's something to be said for this grinding thing. I think that you're looking for something to do with your hands, but you're also looking for a lot of opportunities to make small decisions, and B, get small rewards for those decisions. You watch numbers get bigger and numbers get smaller, and you get to take credit for it.
It's almost you're looking for busy work.
Yeah.
Something just enough so that you don't have to talk to the person next to you.
Again,
it just needs to hold your attention that much.
It's the worst. No, it's just enough so your mind doesn't devour itself.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, the last time I got on a plane, I was in the back seat, and it was a two seat row, and there was a guy sitting in the aisle. I was on the window, and I show up and he looks at me and he goes, "Oh, you are not the size of person I was hoping for. Why couldn't you be a ballerina?" I said, "I think that myself many times."
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing about you. That's a dick thing to say about somebody on a plane.
Yeah. So then that was the extent of my conversation with him.
You press the button that raised the divider. I'm sorry, this wasn't a limo.
That's what this needs. Just a mini divider between every single seat. Because then I can like lay up against it and like rest my head. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess I could do that to the person, but that's not really acceptable.
I mean, you get to know them well enough. Depends on the kind of work they do.
It takes a lot of effort, yeah.
Huh. Let's see here. Ben, what does Chris say?
Chris says, most of my traveling is done by car, so I can't really read or play games. I mean, I could. The trip would just end a lot quicker than expected. In those cases, I usually just do a mix of music and podcasts. In other traveling situations, just like everyone else, JRPGs are king. It's the only time, aside from downtime at work, that I feel like I'm not wasting my life constantly grinding random encounters.
So this is something that's actually on my mind a lot. If I was ever forced to like, hey, you're going to start a business tomorrow, which that would be a weird scenario. But if I were to start a business tomorrow, I've actually thought a lot about having some kind of platform for, iOS or Android that allows you to essentially do like choose your own adventure games through audio cues. The idea being that you could plug it into the Bluetooth of your car, play that while you're on your commute, and essentially have whatever adventure, inventory, system, combat be simple enough that it would kind of fit into your mind. Which you're really, especially with the early text adventure games, you're playing that all in your mind anyway. Yeah. The assumption is that it would not be more distracting than like having a conversation or being on the phone with someone. But I've kind of wondered if there would ever be interest in that, or if it would be horribly dangerous and run people off the road.
I'm sure you could do it like with Action Castle or any of those other Parsley games.
Yeah.
I also wonder if that would just be too distracting.
Yeah.
But that's my own concerns. Like I don't even answer the phone when I'm.
There's only one way to find out. Write into our Facebook page if you want to be the guinea pig. Literally, I've considered, hey, could I like call someone up and play like mental tic-tac-toe with them, because I'm not good enough for mental chess, but mental tic-tac-toe with them while I'm like driving around, just to see if it's even fun or if it's distracting.
Yeah, just have somebody sit in the back seat and read a book to you. At the end of every line, you say, "And what happened next?"
Yeah. If you want to talk to the giant ant, turn to page 63. If you want to go down the corridor of Lucky Charms, go to page 42.
Well, that one's magically delicious. No,
Yes.
this is the segment of the show we call Cole's favorite bits on other podcasts. But the Flop House regularly does a big called Radio Zork.
Okay.
Which it's not really like, it's not an ongoing thing, but just the idea is like, hey, everybody write in with your next move, and they never get past unlocking the door. So do you try to open the door? Do you put the key in the door? Do you unlock the door?
That's funny.
Oh, so I just took all the joy out of that by recounting it. Take that, far more popular
But by
podcast.
taking it away from someone else, you've increased it for yourself, and that's how that works.
I don't think I ingratiated myself to anybody with that thing I just did.
No, you increased your own personal level of joy.
I mean, by listening to it.
Sure.
Sean writes in saying, my extended family was a 12-hour drive away growing up, so a Game Boy, a worm light, and extra batteries were the first items I packed. I would usually start a new Pokemon game each trip, and I brought along Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and Tennis, those are in quotes, for when I wanted to engage my brain or do something more active.
That's I have very distinct memories. You're so privileged to have a worm light. I have distinct memories of trying to play. Was it Super Mario Land 3 that was Super Wario Land?
Yes.
Yeah. So trying to play that game by like the half a second of street light illumination that went by as you were driving down the highway.
The glove compartment light.
Oh man, I should have thought of that. Man, you're so smart, Ben.
Well, no, but that casts glare on the inside of the windshield. At least that's what my parents said. I think they were just trying to get me to go to sleep. No. One year for Christmas, I got that the massive magnifier light that goes over top of the that snaps onto the top of the Game Boy.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah, and like that thing, just by being in a bag, would get so scratched up that you couldn't even see around it. And also, it would magnify it by turning it. It was like a fish bulb. Not fish bulb. It's not Mr. Sparkle. A fishbowl effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. But yeah, the worm light that also like put a blazing hot sun glare on the middle of your screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope you can play seeing the outer 25% of your screen.
Yeah. Let's see here. Dennis, what does Phil say?
Phil says, I never travel without a handheld gaming platform. I don't always have time to use it, but when I do, I don't always have time to use my handheld gaming platforms, but when I do, he's the most interesting gamer in the world. I often play some RPG, turn-based strategy, or something else that requires more thought and less precision. Final Fantasy Tactics, Chrono Trigger, and Disgaea, there we go, nailed it, have been extremely helpful when away from home. I also trend towards the non-action-y games. I think it's also just, playing while traveling makes me slightly nauseous. Not all the time, but just, too long staring at the screen. So a game that's really easy to just kind of look up and take in the cabin around you at any time is useful.
Yeah. Just to be aware.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, no, just to get my bearings and not feel nauseous. I'm not checking on all the people that I suspect to be terrorists.
Well, not terrorists. I mean, just people out to get you personally.
I am a Sky Marshal.
Oh man, Ben, what does David say? It's going to be the last one here. I'll pick up the remaining, the longer one.
Okay. David says, I go to Minnesota twice a year to see my in-laws. There isn't always a lot to do, so that's when I grab a few new games for my handhelds.
New games. Got that novelty factor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, we should really visit Grandma again. I need to finish that game.
Yeah. Huh. I was about to say something really dark, but I'm not going to. I'm going to finish this out with Mikhail, who writes in saying that for a period of like 6 years, he had to travel internationally, kind of like one of the responses before for one of these. And he tried to find games that he could play in public, and also things he could do to make himself not a target for interaction. So he got a lot of mileage out of his Game Boy Advance SP when it was appropriate. He 100%ed Yoshi's Island a few times and continues, a few times. If I travel with a laptop, I would encourage people on my team bringing laptops to install Warcraft 3, and we would do battle over Wi-Fi in our sleeping space. Wow, just a sleeping space? Huh. I also always try to find some kind of House of the Dead machine in every city I would visit for longer than a week. Managed to play it on 4 different continents.
That is so cool.
Yeah. How are the penguins at that? I assume one of the continents was Antarctica.
Because why not?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's pretty good.
Yeah, my other business idea is that I would open an arcade in Antarctica. Just think about it. It's going to work out.
Are you making a reference to The Thing?
No,
okay.
That was not very arcade-like at all.
I know. Okay, you're going to build an arcade cabinet, but you're just going to have people play the PS2 game based on The Thing.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, there we are. That's the ticket. Yeah, so thank you everybody for writing in. We got everybody in under time. You guys, since I don't really have one, and I kind of said why I don't because of my nausea issues, I'm going to let you two go.
So my go-to default game is Sudoku. So if I'm ever in a situation where I need to like kill time or like not deal with anything, I'll just do that as like a last resort. But yeah. I did Pokemon when I was a kid, but I don't have a Game Boy anymore, so I don't do that.
Yeah. Nice. No mobile games that you dig out other than just whatever's available?
Not really. The only time is if I have something off of like a Humble Bundle. Like I know I've done it with Ridiculous Fishing or Monument Valley in the past.
Yeah.
But those have been pretty quick.
Yeah. Dennis, how about you?
Yeah, I bring my Vita. That's my mainstay, and it's actually nice because I've got the little extra battery peripheral for it. So I've got kind of extra long life on that thing, which is really nice. And generally, what I'll do is I'll kind of go in and download any games through PlayStation Plus that I've gotten that I just haven't gotten to yet. Kind of just like read a list of all the previous games and search them out.
Yeah.
And install them in advance of the trip. Generally, I'll only get to 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the same philosophy that was stated earlier, where you kind of find a new game to start.
Yeah. So we've swung everywhere from novelty and exploration to self-enforced tedium and repetition. That is funny that this spans. Huh.
Different ways people fill their time.
So thank you everybody for writing in. If you want to participate in these, go to facebook.com/thelevelpodcast, like us there, and look for those on Tuesday afternoons or so.
The grind.
Now it is time for the grind, where we talk about the games we've been playing over the past period of time or so. Dennis, since you were not here last week, I'm going to throw you the first crack.
Yeah, and it's fitting that we're talking about travel games in this multiplayer, because I got to do a lot of that while I was traveling for work last week. So played more DanganRonpa, which continues to be really good. I am in the middle of the investigation for the 4th round of murders. If that tells you where I am.
I believe it does, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's it continues to be really, really good. I wish, and I can't remember if I bitched about this the last time, I wish there were a more efficient way to do the Monokuma coins.
Oh,
so
yeah?
Then I've got a math problem for you.
Okay.
So I'm gonna kind of round a little bit. There's like 113, something like that, unique items in the game that you can get.
Okay.
And if you put 1 coin in the machine, the first time it happens, you have let's call it there are 100 items. The first time you put in a coin, there's a 100% chance that you get a new item. And every time you get a new item, it drives up the chance that you'll get a repeat. So it's just random every single time, right?
So what's the expected number of before you get everything?
Well, the catch is that if you put in 2 coins at once, it'll knock the percentage back down, or the chance that you get a repeat back down. So let's say you've unlocked 5 items, so there's a 5% chance that you get a repeat. If you put in 2 coins, it's only a 4% chance. Does that make sense?
Oh, sure. Okay.
So you can like pay it down.
So what's the optimal strategy?
What's the optimal strategy? I think it is to just do 1 coin at a time, because even up if you get up to 80%, it's still, 5 coins for a new item instead of trying to pay it down to like a 50%, which is going to cost you 30 coins. And then also every once in a while when you're putting in 1 coin at a time, every I don't know how many times you put in a coin, any amount of coins, you might get lucky and get a second item for free. So I've been...
Wait, say that again? Sorry.
There's a chance, I'm not sure how often it happens, but every once in a while you will get 2 items out of the machine instead of 1 item for 1 coin.
No matter how many coins you put in?
Yeah, so no matter how many coins you put in, you're only going to get 1 item out, unless you get lucky, and sometimes it'll spit out 2 items. Those items are always just a random pull out of the 100.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you want to get 100 items because those are all the possible things you could give people as gifts to advance the plot. So I imagine there might be some point where it just becomes like, to knock out that final item when it's 99 to 1, you might just as well pay the 99 coins to get it for sure. But I'm not sure where that becomes efficient.
And so if you keep putting in 2 coins, it'll keep knocking it down until you get something?
No. So let's say you get 5 items. So you've gotten 5 items. This is math talk, everyone.
Yeah, I know.
Some people out there love this, I'm sure. If you're that one person, let us know. And everyone else has just turned off the podcast by this point. So
if you have 5 items, you can pay 2 coins for a 4% chance, but it's still at 5%.
Right. So if you get a new item, then it goes up to 6%, because you unlocked 6 out of 100, and you could pay 2 coins the next time for a 5% chance.
Okay, that makes it easier. Okay.
Yeah. Except, like I said, there's like 113 items or something crazy like that, where it's like it's going up by 0.83% or something like that. I have no idea how much it actually is.
After the podcast, I will go to the math chambers and figure this out.
I might turn on the game tonight expressly for the purpose of getting you the exact number of items.
Okay. Or you treat that as a thing you do between chapters that gets you something neat, and you don't worry about getting all of them. not to piss on your parade.
No, but so I've been doing it just 1 at a time because I think that's optimal. But it's probably a good 10-second loop every time, because there's like an animation that plays and a sound that plays, and you get the item picture, and then you got to mash X to get through all that before you can actually put in another coin. So you're having to invest time every time you do that, which is annoying, because if you get 90 coins at the end of a chapter, that's a solid hour that you could spend plunking in coins if you did it 1 at a time.
Yeah, I guess I'm not feeling that pain as kind of acutely as you are, because it actually does get better in DanganRonpa 2. They actually replace it with a vending machine.
Okay.
So it takes a little bit of the randomness out of it.
Yeah, but so that's again a tiny little nitpicky thing for me to bitch about that really has no effect on the quality of the overall game, which is extremely good, well written, and just incredibly enjoyable. So
yeah, have you lost anybody that you're like super bummed that you lost? I mean, aside from the first one.
Yeah, the first one was a surprise. Although when I found out what was going on behind the scenes, I was happy about it. Well, yeah, how can I don't know how to say who I was surprised / bummed about without giving it away. But yes, there is a character that I was sad to lose.
All right, how about this? I can bleep out the name. Yeah,
all right. So the name of the character that I was sad to miss was.
Oh yeah.
So that's the one where he was like the first person that I chose to spend time with. Again, none of this is usable because we'll give away spoilers. Because I figured as the goody two shoes like hard worker, he'd be the least likely to actually go after someone.
Yeah.
Like he just seems so positive and to a fault, right? But that made him a person that was safe to befriend, I guess.
Yeah, that also like that accounts for like one or two people in there too. So without the name, it's perfectly fine. Yeah, I don't know, but so somebody that I didn't expect to be as likable as they were, or ended up being, or like one of my favorite characters, but Byakuya.
Oh yeah,
he's great.
He is. Yeah, I'm very intrigued by that character. And just it's the mark of a good character that they write him to be so completely unlikable, yet he's still interesting enough that you want to spend time with him.
Even
like they write him as a complete asshole, but it's almost, they do it in an interesting enough way that it's fun to be around him.
Yeah. So I mean, depending on how this ends up for you, like, are you thinking about going into the second one?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Danganronpa. And then the other game that I played, sorry, I didn't mean to cut off any questions on that. Any other thoughts on that? Or
Ben, how about you? I mean, do you have any questions about the way this game shakes out?
I'm doing math right now. I'm sorry.
We've lost Ben. We lost all of our listeners. By the way, thanks for doing that before I thought about my game.
It sounds like an interesting game. Because I remember hearing about you talk about it, Cole.
Yeah.
But I haven't even looked up screenshots of it, so I have I basically am just imagining Battle Royale the video game when I think of this game. So
it's Battle Royale as expressed by anime portraits making poses with text boxes beneath them, and also the occasional grisly murder scene where all the blood is hot pink.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a cool decision.
This is probably horribly racist, so apologies in advance, but it is the fastest I have picked up and remembered Japanese names.
No, names from a different culture are sometimes hard to internalize.
Yeah, so that's been the case for me. But just for this one, like I needed to hear it once, and I just immediately internalized it. And I think that's a testament to how well written all the characters are.
Yeah, and they're also like really distinctly designed too. Like it doesn't take very long. And usually most of them are there. So if somebody's referring to somebody by name, it'll likely cut to a reaction shot of them, at least early on. Like I get the sense they're not designing around that being something, but it does stand as like a testament to the design and the consideration that goes into them.
And part of the intrigue of the game is that there are enough characters that you can't really keep track of everyone in your head at once. And hence all the mystery and the opportunities for people to have shady alibis, or all that stuff goes on. So.
And also an opportunity for you to pick a favorite, right? Like if presented with a huge group of people, you're probably going to try and gravitate towards somebody who you think you can have a conversation with. And obviously you're not going to be able to have a conversation with them, but you're going to decide who you have an affinity for.
Yeah. And I don't know how much it impacts the end, but there's got to be some min-max way where you get to have a meaningful conversation with every single person before they die.
There's a whole other mode that's like school day mode where there is no like trial kind of thing, where it's like just basically free play or free roam.
So you can find out all those backstories if you want them.
Yes, and there are like different backstories, but they're not technically they're not canonical, I guess, because there are times where you can talk to people where they would have been dead in the story.
Oh sure.
Yeah, so you get a little bit more. Like that's something that I don't really mind going to a wiki to get, just because the main story is enough for me. But
well, and again, the horrible thing would be if you had to like do that to get the good ending.
Oh fuck.
Have you?
Yeah, no, so. that would definitely put a damper on that game.
Sure, but yeah, it again continues to be good.
Dennis, if you have 99 or if you have 1, you should put in 2 coins. Otherwise, you should just put in 1 coin 2 times.
Wait, you should put in 2 coins at 99, or you should pay it all the way down?
At 99 or 1. If you have 99 items remaining or 1 item remaining, you should put in 2 coins 1 time. Every other time, you should just put in 1 coin 2 times.
Oh, so the aggregate benefit of doing 2 rolls is better than kind of the pumped up that you would get. Okay.
Yes. For almost every case.
There we go. Very cool. Thank you.
Well, that's also the most tedious way because you have to see the animation every time.
Well, that's the thing is like I don't think if I was investing enough coins to meaningfully pay down the percentage of getting a repeat, I just wouldn't be able to run that machine enough times to make up for the amount of coins I was investing. So, but yeah, okay, cool. No, that's It's gratifying to know that I kind of gut level was able to get the best way.
Yeah, let me know what the actual number is after the podcast, and I can figure that out.
Does that meaningfully change it if it's bigger or smaller?
Probably not.
I mean, it probably just changes the range on the extreme, right?
Cole, there's more math to be done.
No, I'm asking. Like, I want to know.
I would guess probably not, but
yeah. It probably goes from like if you have anywhere from 1 to 2 or 98 to 99, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Huh. What else have you been playing, man?
Yeah, I also tried CastleStorm on my Vita while I was traveling, which is an interesting hybrid of genres. So at its core, it's like an Angry Birds. So you have a catapult in your castle, and you're launching rocks and missiles and spears at the other person's castle, with the win condition being knock the other person's castle down. It is also a base building game because you can actually lay out and design your castle to have rooms that give you various upgrades, and theoretically, because it's a physics-based knock the castle down thing, you could engineer your castle to be more sturdy. It's also got just a twinge of like the lane minion mechanic from MOBAs, where you're also sending out archers and soldiers into the field to attack the other person's castle. They're doing the same for your castle. And so at any point you could change your targeting and actually fire spears and rocks at the minions on the other team instead of the castle. And that's kind of necessary to keep that balance even, because they can really quickly start wreaking havoc if they're knocking down your door and you let them kind of overpower you. You can also adding another layer on top of this, you can also at any point tap a button and actually jump in a hero into that kind of middle ground where all your minions are, that you are controlling directly, and it's like super powerful, and you can kind of quickly swing the tide of a battle in your way. So all those 4 different kinds of games meld together to form CastleStorm.
So it's like Rampart meets a MOBA meets a tower defense?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
And I only played it single player. It looks like it's really designed around multiplayer. Like there were a lot of options for multiplayer, and the whole castle customization thing is really deep. Whereas if you were trying to really think strategically about how to defend against someone who's intelligent attacking you, you could design it right. Whereas the computer isn't that smart. You don't have to just use the presets. So yeah, I didn't get to experience that aspect of it. But it's got kind of a goofy storyline for it that's generally skippable. And this is going to sound weird, but when all the different sections aren't overwhelming, they work together well.
Okay.
Like there was a level of hecticness where I felt like I could kind of still keep my mind around what was going on, and kind of pop back and forth between all these kind of games within the games. And that felt cool. And that was fun. But then you get to a certain point where they're literally throwing so much at you that you kind of start to lose track. And then it just gets frustrating.
Yeah.
So I probably won't play it again after having tried it out traveling, but it's an interesting little, meld of Chimera. Is that it? Of all different game types.
I think Chimera applies. Like, it seems like a game with that many modes, for lack of a better word, would do a better job of like directing where your attention or your eyes should go. Yeah.
And so there are side missions where they'll, in the main story quest, where they'll kind of focus down on one capability, and it'll be like, oh, your soldiers are on strike, so you can only use your catapult or whatever. The problem that highlights is that none of the modes on their own are enough to be fun. There's just not enough in any one of them to really hold your attention and feel meaty. So there's got to be some good in between, like I said, of that, there's enough going on to keep you switching back and forth, and you're kind of like, I got to send out more soldiers. Okay, got to, attack these rooms in the other castle. Let's make sure that, my hero is charged up and ready to go for this next wave, and blah, blah, blah. But they just kind of, either there's not enough going on, or they overextend into chaos.
Yeah. There's spinning plates, and then there's spinning plates while Arlie Ermy fires a tennis ball cannon at you.
Yeah. Yes, there is.
It's like my mom always says.
An old Ross
Mansfield's
adage. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that. I don't know if there's too much to say about it. It's an interesting little amalgamation if you want to try it.
Was this a PS Vita like free to play game or?
Yeah, it's also on PS3.
Yeah.
Maybe on PS4 as well.
It's on the usual suspects.
Yeah, it's on the usual suspects. And then I'll mention it only because I've crossed a significant milestone. But yesterday, I finally unlocked all of the solo adventure content in Hearthstone without investing a single cent in the game. So
That's great.
I've literally kept this a free-to-play game and gotten all the really expensive content for free. Nice. So I'd have to go look at I haven't even bothered to look up the actual price, but I think if you buy it in its most efficient form, it's still like $25 worth of game, or like maybe $14 worth of game that I've unlocked.
You showed Blizzard.
Yeah, oh boy. Well, and it's kind of funny. So I think I said this early on when we were talking about, CCCGs, computer collectible card games. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that it just
keep saying C's till I stop.
Yeah.
Till I say stop. Yeah.
Until you disconnect.
Or until you seize.
Or until you cease.
I need to stop this.
But it just feels really bad to me to pay for randomness. So buying a pack of cards.
Yeah.
I don't like that idea. However, the content that I unlocked is actually the solo content where you kind of know exactly what you're getting up front. So I've almost gone against what I said in that way. But it was just one of those things where I was like, I probably could in a couple months if I tried, and then I decided I wanted to try. That said, I probably would invest real money in the next batch of solo content that comes out.
Just because it's going to be, it's finite. Like, yeah.
I've proven I can, and I know what I will get when I buy it. So I'll start investing all my in-game gold towards card packs where there's randomness.
Yeah,
and then I'll invest my money towards the known quantities. Which if I unlocked the solo missions with regular gold and then bought that amount in card packs, it would probably even out. But hey, it's the principle of the thing.
No, you want to make sure that your actual currency is going towards the thing that you want the currency to go towards, and your time is going towards the thing you want your time to go towards.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful thing. I know I've talked about it in depth several times, but I've never felt hindered by being a free-to-play player. I can't make some of the standard template decks that have really powerful, rare cards in them, but that just means I get to exercise my creativity, and it feels really good when you stomp the guy who has all the legendary cards. It's a great feeling. So. Yeah. So that's a huge milestone. I don't know when I'll hit my next milestone, but that's probably the next time you'll hear about Hearthstone.
Well, that's great. Congratulations.
Great. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Ben, how about you?
So I've finally gotten to play Metal Gear Solid again. I think it's been a couple weeks. So
it has.
So now I think I've gotten to about 20% of the way through the game, which doesn't sound like much, but I think the game ends around 50%, right?
What chapter number are you on in the main storyline?
Maybe 14, maybe.
Okay.
Not sure.
That's about halfway.
Okay. I've gotten to the second map, whatever that may be.
The map is in the case, Ben.
for people who bought it day of. I don't want to spoil it for people who bought it weeks later.
Okay. Continue.
They have feelings too. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's good. I feel like it would be a good game to play if you were traveling, because it at some point seems a little bit grindy. I feel like I've gotten my strategy down. A lot of trank shooting and supply dropping to get more tranks to do more trank shooting.
more suppressors and Fultons, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I finally unlocked the ability to Fulton tanks and cars, so I was pretty happy about that.
So let me ask, when you talk about trank shooting, is that just because you've got kind of like a personal quest, I want to play non-lethal, or is it, if you went and just killed everyone, that would be easier, but it's kind of not the way you want to play the game?
I mean, if things go south, I'll light people up, no problem. But yeah, I mean, going into every mission, I try and do it stealth mostly. I mean, they reinforce that sort of gameplay too, because I mean, you're ranked based on how many alerts you have, or how many times you go into reflex mode, and if you do it on your first try or not. So there have been a couple missions where I've been able to, like, get no alerts first time through, like no retries or anything like that. So that's fun.
So wait, is there a reward for just finishing on your first try, or does the reward change based on how well you finished on your first try?
How well. So basically every mission that you have, you get like a score tied to it. And then that score in turn affects the GMP that you get. And I think it's GMP.
Yeah, that's your currency.
And the war effort, which I'm not sure what that does.
Your heroism?
Like heroism, that's it, yeah.
Heroism makes it more likely that people will join you voluntarily after you complete a mission. So if you see volunteers as opposed to kind of like conscripts, that's because of your heroism.
Okay.
Yeah,
I did not know that. Yeah,
it's not explained.
Yeah,
heroicism.
No, heroism.
Heroism sounds like a catchphrase that someone has.
No, heroism.
Yeah,
heroism. Am I saying it weird?
No, I'd never heard that as a word before. I'd heard heroicism.
Oh,
and I've heard heroics.
Oh, no, it's heroism is a word. I'm pretty sure.
I will choose to believe you.
Now I'm getting self-conscious. There is another reason to Trank and Fulton.
Okay.
Or at least not go in and immediately use lethal weapons. Fulton is when you like run up to an incapacitated person and attach a balloon to them that raises them up into the sky, so somebody can pick them up and they are recruited into your ranks.
Think of Batman in The Dark Knight. How he escapes Hong Kong. That's what you're doing to the people.
It's like
I often think of Batman in The Dark Knight.
It is a parachute bag, except it has a balloon in it that causes somebody to be yanked up into the sky, and they go, "Whoa!"
Very dramatically, by the way. Like physics does not apply to how you're extracting them.
Yeah, this would snap their spines. And if they want to go, they go wee. And if they're a goat, they go bah. It's great. No, but
I just want to see that brief, like,
bear.
Hey, Foley department, we need you to capture the sound of a goat. Cool. Okay. No. Being raised into the air. Okay. By a balloon.
All right. Let's see here. I'm going to turn up the balloon filter on this goat, and we're good.
Oh my goodness.
But if you go in, Lethal Weapons Ablazing. If you go in, your copy of Lethal Weapon blaring on your portable DVD player.
It's the helicopter music. Yeah.
Yep. I was about to do Axel F, which is the wrong movie.
Also saxophone in that though. So,
I thought it was like a synthesizer, right?
For Lethal Weapon?
Oh no, in Lethal Weapon, yeah, there's tons of saxophone.
A lot of sax,
yeah, that is a saxy movie.
It is.
No, but if you go in Lethal Weapons Blazing, you can't really do anything with the dead bodies. However, if you incapacitate somebody and Fulton them, you actually add them to your ranks, and you're constantly in the metagame trying to bolster the ranks of Mother Base so you can do extra things and level up the capabilities of kind of different things. So you can do better R&D to get new weapons, or have better support so you can get more drops from your helicopters and stuff like that.
Cool.
Yeah, and one of the things that I've gotten to now is, so like you can look at each person and it'll say like what their strengths are in each of the abilities, like either medicine or intel or force or whatever. But then also people will have random skills that might be unknown, but it'll tell you if they have a skill or not. And so it incentivizes you to get those people, because having people with different skills will unlock different weapons that you can use. So, yeah.
Yeah, so you definitely want to... You're basically playing Pokemon with full-grown men.
Mm-hmm. But not a lot of element type interplay, though.
No. You are looking for different languages, though.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on kind of the main story that you're seeing so far?
There's one companion. I got to the mission where you can get him or her, probably her.
Her, or you can get quiet. Come on.
Yeah, but I was not equipped to do that mission properly, so I ran away from it. So I have not gotten that companion yet. Mostly because I want to try and incapacitate the person, because it's the classic Metal Gear thing where you can either kill them or you can hit them with like tranks or something to stun them to take their like endurance down.
Can I give you a pro tip?
Sure.
You can see her location on your map. You can call in supply drops that will drop on top of her and incapacitate her.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that is the Kojima touch.
Nice. Okay, I will probably do that then.
Yeah, no, she's great. She, especially when you get her suppressed weapons, she becomes very overpowered.
Okay, I've been using D-Dog a whole lot.
D-Dog's great too,
because I really like D-Dog.
D-Dog is weirdly the equivalent of the Soliton radar.
Okay.
Just because
the percentage of words that I understand in this conversation are going
dropping. Pay 2 coins and you can understand 1% more.
Nothing. I'm getting nothing but static. But no. In the first couple games, you had a radar that showed you where everybody was and where they were looking. Getting D-Dog, who is this wolf dog that you can
with an eye patch.
Yep. He's basically the dog version of Big Boss.
Yes. There is a moment where they both dramatically look to the camera and it does a slow motion and I think an eye sheen on them. So yeah.
Like a lens flare.
Yeah.
But no, so this is a dog that you can send out. He gets cute little body armor if you research it. He gets a sneaking suit, and he can hold a knife in his mouth and slit people's throats. It's
That's
great.
Adorable.
I know.
It's adorable how he murders.
Yeah. No, but just having this dog kind of like going up in front of you and with you, he will highlight enemies and prisoners on the screen, so that you don't have to like scout ahead.
Yeah, and that I haven't gotten the companion that I was talking about yet, but that is such a powerful thing, being able to see where everybody is and where all the prisoners are. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'll be able to give that up or not, so we'll see.
It varies from mission to mission, and I kind of wish there was a better briefing to tell you like what it was going to be. Yeah. Like who situations are going to be more favorable towards, but
whether or not you're going in lethal weapons blazing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm going to be curious. If you end up beating this, I want to do kind of like a bonus level with you, or at least like a spoiler chat that's going to be released on the feed so people know where to go. Because I want to talk about the story with you. I don't want to hurry you as that goes along.
I have a feeling with this game compared to most other games, I feel like I just do not follow the lore of it, because I've played through like Metal Gear 4 once. I've played through Snake Eater maybe once or twice, but like I get Snake Eater, but like every other game, like I just blank out on the characters, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can only juggle so many people in your mind. And so I don't know. So we can talk about the story, but I don't know if I will feel the full impact of it. But yeah.
I think that if you played Snake Eater and if you played Ground Zeroes and you kind of know a little bit about what happens in Peace Walker, which this game goes to great lengths to get you caught up on. And you know that there is this legacy of what Big Boss has done that turns him into the big bad guy and this thing that casts a shadow over the rest of the series. I think that's all you need.
Okay.
So I don't want you to go into this being like, weirded out by that. Like, if you know who Otacon is, then you're going to have enough context for different things that happen. Like it's pretty much all there, especially if you played Snake Eater, which is the one this kind of like most closely resembles outside of Peace Walker.
Yeah, Snake is super beat up in this game.
Yeah, he's got pieces of
Stitches
human skull
and shell.
He's got.
It took me a while, several times I've seen the iconic picture with him with his robo hand over his face to realize that he has like a fragment of some kind of thing sticking out of his head.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the bones of his companions.
Oh, so it's not like a metal fragment. It is bones.
It's literally bone that they can't take out because it's pressing on his frontal lobe.
Wow, that's messed up.
Isn't it black though? I didn't know it was bones.
It's like charred and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. They say it in the opening, like, so at the end of Ground Zeroes, Paz jumps out of that plane, and her unfortunately placed bomb blows up, and fragments of her fly in to Venom Snake.
Yeah, that was a tough scene.
Yeah, yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still not. I'm still not convinced that was necessary.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Another reason not to spend that much money on that game.
Yeah. I think a lot of people got it for free though recently.
Cited trauma. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. So I mean, are you down with the play? Like, is it jibing with you?
Yeah. I worry that Maneater will become repetitive, but it hasn't yet.
So I worried about that too. And I found different tapes, and I tried to make those my new standard. However, I always came back to Maneater.
Yeah.
So, maybe it's those occasional trips, outside of the commitment that make the commitment more bearable, that remind you why you love Maneater.
Yeah.
But
all roads lead back to Hall & Oates.
Yeah. No, that's so I would encourage you to experiment, but I think that you're probably Take on Me is going to be very tempting. I'm going to say this, follow that instinct, but I think that, like you said, it's a long and winding road. Yeah.
We all know where it goes. Yeah.
You played anything else, Ben?
That is all I've played. Yep.
Okay. All right. Dennis, I think I'm done with Tearaway.
Really? Done as in finished or done as in F this noise?
Well, not quite F this noise.
Okay.
It's not really holding my interest.
Okay.
So, because you lent it to me and because you hold this game in really high esteem, I want to give you a chance to make an appeal to me. So I talked about this a little bit last week, just by saying I want to talk more when you're here. But what does it say that I liked the game more when it didn't let me jump? That I thought this was going to be seriously, I thought this was going to be this weird Captain Toad-esque limited platformer where I'm supposed to have limited navigation, but I'm manipulating the world around it. But then I got to jump, and then I got to roll, and then it became Psychonauts. Psychonauts insofar as the play is fine, and the aesthetic is mostly what's driving it along. And I kind of want to see what more they do with the paper gimmick. And it's great. I'm all in on that, but just nothing is getting me to drive forward. I got to a point where I thought I was going to get to the horrible picture of me that's in the sun. And then I was, that was taken away because, oh no, that's not going to be an interesting story. One that ends when you want it to. No, we're going to take you over here and make this game longer. I feel like I've seen what it has to offer.
Yeah, they do that a couple times.
Yeah. And it's I was oh wow, how delightful would it be if this is just this really short, iterative game. And then it's kind of I really don't want to play through the swamp level. Yeah. I don't know.
There's a lot of cool stuff to see just because that aesthetic is so interesting. At least to my mind. Is so interesting and so well done. That's what kept me going through the game was oh my gosh, what, how are they going to do all these different things turn into paper? What does that look like? So that was cool. However, once you get past that, really the game is just going to do the same thing to you over and over again, which is you almost get to the U. And then it takes it away, and then you almost get to the U, and then it takes it away. So,
which
if that annoyed you to start with, it's just going to keep on happening.
And I can get over that. I just don't know that I have faith that it's going to have me doing a bunch of interesting things again on the way through it. There was a little bit of a glimpse of hope with that mountain dungeon, where you're doing a whole bunch of folding to navigate the world to get up there. But I just I ended that, and I don't know, it just left a weird taste in my mouth. To yeah.
Yeah, and so nothing wrong with that. I think it's still worth experiencing purely for the amazing aesthetics and just cute factor, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
But no, I don't hold it against you at all that you didn't. How much time did you spend? Any time kind of doing your own paper craft creations?
In IRL?
No, in terms of in the game, there are several points where it asks you to design something. And there's an in-game kind of image editing thing that you can do.
Oh, when it prompted me, I definitely went whole hog.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, or just putting skull and lightning bolt stickers. But I just realized my favorite symbols are Nazi symbols. Fuck. God damn it.
We had to find out like this.
I had to find out through Tearaway. Shit.
It took the cutest to bring out the ugliest.
To bring out the darkest. God damn it. Oh no. But just putting badass looking stickers all over my guy. And like when it told me to design a snowflake, I designed the coolest pink snowflake I could.
Damn straight. And then it shows up everywhere, which I appreciated.
It was neat. It just felt like a parlor trick.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, the cute factor is a lot of what makes this game fun.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm finally dying inside.
I would be interested to see what they did with. Has it launched yet? Tearaway Unfolded?
Oh, on the PS4?
Yeah, because they took Tearaway, and I think it's the same core game, but they like revamped it with a bunch of new abilities. Because obviously, there's a lot of the game in Tearaway that's based on the Vita's inputs. Mm-hmm. So I think they kind of gave it all a PS4 slant, if you will.
I'm curious about that from a technical side of things because that stuff, the Vita, just the sheer Vita-ness of it was really what appealed to me most. And when it was just a game that you played with the thumbstick and the back panel, I was like, oh, that's really neat. Like, I want to pound these drums to do a jump. And like, it just, the second it became a regular top-down platformer, I immediately just lost about half of the interest that I had in it.
Yeah, that's fair. It's funny to hear you describe it that way. That is a Vita-ass Vita game.
It is. I mean, and that's great. Like, do stuff that takes advantage of the hardware that you have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's cool. So you mentioned the real life stuff. I was also blown away by that. But like almost all of the assets in the game could actually be made from physical construction paper. Yeah. And in fact, many of the assets as an unlockable, you get like instructions on how to make it, which is that's insanely cool. And I would love to have been a fly on the wall of that design room where they were putting all that stuff together. Just so cool.
So I'm pretty sure they didn't place the limitation on themselves that like, if we can't make this in Papercraft, we can't put it in the game. No. Like that would be fucking crazy. But that would be, they do a good enough job of creating the illusion of that.
Like pretty much all the characters that you interact with are makeable in real life. Most of the scenery is. There's a couple things where like waterfalls made of paper where it's just constantly unfurling paper. That okay, obviously there's limitations there, or things that just wouldn't stand up on their own. But they overall do a really good job of keeping everything at least plausible enough that you're not pointing at things and going, oh my gosh, why'd you even make that look like it was made out of paper? Yeah, that could never have been made in real life.
It's a little bit like the Lego movie in that way. Like,
yeah, that's a great proxy. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I think that Media Molecule knows what they're doing with materials. And it's really cool to see them kind of like living into that niche. I'm kind of curious how it's going to manifest itself in Dreams, just because that is a little bit all over the place aesthetically from what I've seen. But
I do not know what to think of that.
I don't know what it is. Like, that's like No Man's Sky. I don't know what the game is.
Yeah. Which is exciting and also kind of wards me away from it all at the same time.
The more you leave it to my imagination, the more you're letting me build it up bigger than what it could possibly be.
That, and then also like, if you can't describe it succinctly, chances are it's not a, formed enough idea.
Yeah. What is it? There's one of the pithy authors said, if you can't explain what you do for a living to a 10-year-old, you're a charlatan. Yeah. It's probably Vonnegut or Twain or whatever like that. I don't want to be reductive because like games obviously are more like it's pretty complicated to describe some games, and they're plenty rewarding anyway. But yeah, it's a little bit of a hard sell, I think. That said, I'm still intrigued. It's hard to be as enthusiastic as I want to be.
Yeah, well, you've gotten a feel for it, and that's enough. It's something I didn't think of until you were talking about being able to see yourself in the sky. And I don't think I mentioned this the first time around. So one of the gimmicks of the game is that the you, all the creatures in the game are pontificating about you. It's kind of cute the way they do it, but the forward-facing camera on the Vita just captures you playing the game and kind of puts you in the sun. So at any point you could kind of look up and you just get little glimpses of yourself kind of smiling benevolently down into this world.
Or
as
just
this little
just like a view of my face from below, except I'm laying back, so all of my front flesh is just kind of like draped down, and I'm looking at the ghoulish undercarriage of my visage as I like hold in a fixed, just like what's the opposite of a rictus? Just more.
so it's either a really in practice, like concept is a cute idea. In practice, it's either a really unflattering angle, or because I was playing this, like at night most of the time, it's just this black hole in the sun, which is ultra depressing.
Yeah. Black hole sun.
Oh, sky.
It's the yawning void.
Yeah. He's like, I want to reach the mountain to touch it. It's like,
the throne of God sits empty. Yeah.
So yeah, that I'd forgotten about that fun little piece of the game.
So I played another game. This is SOMA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so SOMA is the game by the most recent game by Frictional. This is the team that did Amnesia: The Dark Descent, the Penumbra series, kind of known exploration, environmental storytelling, horror smiths, Frictional. So this is kind of their step into telling a similar story, or at least making a similar game that they did, to what they did before with their Lovecrafty medieval themes, kind of applying it to a BioShock-esque sci-fi contemplation of what existence means and what consciousness is.
So I have no idea what this game is like.
You got a future in marketing, Kole.
And I have a present and hopefully soon past in marketing. No. Just you're walking around being scared by shit. Like you're in a creepy environment and you're trying to get from point A to point B and figure out what went wrong.
Okay.
Huh.
Yep. So yeah, you're walking around. Kind of the setup is you're this guy who has just recently been in this terrible car accident and suffered a brain injury that is pretty terminal, but for the moment you're walking around and you submit to this kind of experimental, Hail Mary brain scan that hopefully will get some kind of insight that helps you, recover from this. But as you go in and, sit down and get this scan, everything blacks out and you wake up at the bottom of the ocean in this experimental research lab that is probably closest to Sea Lab 2021. No, it's like there are these different kind of pillars and bases that are all named after Greek letters, and everybody is dead, and there are these horrible half human, half robot monstrosities that are walking around.
So it is a Bioshock game.
Yeah, this is. So, picture this, if you will. Picture the game that we wanted BioShock Infinite to be. Which
was BioShock Infinite.
The people who were disappointed with how action heavy BioShock Infinite was. Picture that, except applied to BioShock 1, being underground, and being more about kind of like the storytelling and like stealth and avoidance. Right. Okay. The premise and setup is incredibly BioShock. And I was initially really, really disappointed with it because sci-fi horror just in general doesn't do it for me. Like I'm more for the psychological kind of stuff. More for something that's like a Silent Hill, like even, the goofier parts of Resident Evil, like once you get later in the series, like past 4, it starts being a little bit too sci-fi for me. Again, Resident Gear, right? So there was a bit of a hard sell, and initially it falls into a bit of the Dead Space problem insofar as like Dead Space did it okay. It was fine the first time. You go to accomplish this thing and well, something went wrong, so we need to grab these 3 pieces of data to continue to go do this other thing. Like, you had the sense that you were in a falling apart facility that you needed to kind of like manage the way it was self-destructing in order to press forward. The very same thing happens here, but it's hard for me to get excited about where is the data, what is the button that I can press and the flip that I can shit, the switch
flip that I can shit.
Yep, the flip that I can shit to move the data from one place to another. It's
Guys,
just
I'm about to flip my, or no, that's the right way to say it.
I'm about to
shit my flip.
shit
here.
my flip. Yeah. So like that part of it kind of bumped me out, and kind of like the early parts of the game are just a little bit too sterile. But as it starts revealing itself, and as you get into places where things really started going wrong, to the actual like research facilities, and there's kind of a first act twist to the game that I don't want to ruin because I went into this completely dark. And even if it is common knowledge,
You're dead. You've been dead all along.
even if it is common knowledge, you are going
It's
into
not
this.
the sea, it's the sky.
Even if it is common knowledge, I'm serious. I don't want to give anything because it was incredibly satisfying. Like,
I'm throwing out every trope that I could think of.
Well, once it hits and you figure out what you're actually like, what the conditions actually are and what you're trying to accomplish, it becomes really interesting. But it does this weird thing where it becomes super on the nose with its themes. Guys, it becomes full on think about it up to the very last moment.
But I thought think about it was when it's like off base of what it's saying about its themes.
It sells past the close. Like so think about it is fine, like in this kind of story based kind of thing where you are getting it indirectly. But when it's somebody saying, do we really exist in dialogue? It becomes just like, I'm sorry, what? Even if it does make sense given the circumstances that are around you, it's like I don't know. Like there was probably a more subtle way to do it, and maybe if it was more subtle, I would be complaining like, oh, I had no idea what was going on, or more people would complain, oh, I had no idea what was going on. But like, it sold so hard past the close, right around the time that it started getting interesting, that it was a real bummer.
Think about it.
And it was scary. Like it started out being not very scary at all. Maybe I have the antibodies for this. I don't know. Down to the point where it got to be, and then it picked back up when you had these amnesia like open areas where you were forced to explore as this thing that you couldn't look directly at was hunting you down and would kill you in one hit. Like that's like that part of the play is great. It takes away the limitation of the resources. You're no longer limited on the amount of light that you have. Like you just have a flashlight you can turn on and leave on the entire time, and you no longer have a sanity system. They replace that with like this screen glitching that happens whenever enemies are nearby. That kind of tells you about this. So some people would probably be disappointed with that. Like the sanity system was less, that wasn't so much the thing that I liked about the Dark Descent as much. Like I more liked needing to conserve my light so I could use it to actually solve the puzzles. And the puzzles in this are fine. I don't know. The highs, the high highs are there. It just kind of sold past the close. And this is me literally having just
how long of a game is it?
It's about 10 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. And like I just beat it tonight too. So maybe this
selling
is
past the
fresh.
close is selling way past the close, though.
A little bit, yeah. I don't think it's like a matter of economy. I think it's just a matter of tact.
Sure.
Yeah. But like, I would still recommend it. There's not an awful lot like Amnesia out there, and Frictional, they still make a good, scary game. I just, it had the sci-fi thing working against it for me personally. And just the amount of finesse with which they treated their themes kind of came up lacking for me.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
it's been a meh week for you, Kole.
a little bit. I don't know. It's funny because I've been looking forward to Soma for a long time, and maybe that's the problem. Maybe I just shouldn't want good things.
The expectations are the worst.
Ugh, man. Again, why can't there just be fewer good things?
Why can't I just expect fewer good things? I want the same amount of good things out there. I just want to be able to like have an expectation meter that I can tune up or down.
See, that's the problem with cynicism. Like you can be cynical, but it doesn't just reduce your expectation, it also reduces your ability to really enjoy a thing, and it increases your resistance to pleasant surprise.
Yeah. I would say cynicism increases your expectations in that for you to enjoy something, it has to be like unassailable.
I suppose.
Because the one thing wrong with it will get magnified out of proportion.
Yeah. And you know me, like I try and find the good. You know,
you're a fan of flawed gems.
Yeah. Or like I enjoy finding the, I don't hold the bad against the good, I guess, which makes me a terrible critic. But, sometimes you have to do that for your own ability to enjoy this thing you spend a lot of time with.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, that's everything. Any final questions about Soma?
So at what point would you recommend someone still invest their time in it? Like, is it if you can find it for cheap? Is it don't waste your time? Where on that scale do you put it? Play the first 3 hours and then be done with it?
I would say, I don't know, like if you can get it for $20, I don't even know what it costs out the box. So that gets a little bit difficult.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, like if you're down with, if you're okay with playing a scary game, I would say go for it. Don't be as freaked out about this as you would be with Amnesia: The Dark Descent. I don't think that it is as frightening as Amnesia is. So if you're kind of staying away from it because of that, I feel pretty safe in saying you're going to get further into this and find more reason to go on than with that one. However, I would say Amnesia is a better game.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so it's like $29.99 out the box, and I have no regrets about paying that. However, if somebody has trepidation after hearing my kind of like lukewarm impression of it, then yeah, like if it falls below the $19.99. This is effectively no money to me with my privilege, then go for it, I guess.
The old $20 Kole rule.
Yep. Huh. That makes me sound super unsympathetic.
I think more the you being a Nazi makes you sound more unsympathetic.
Do you guys want to button it up?
Yeah.
The credit.
I don't even know where to go from that. That's the worst thing you can call a person.
That was Nazi Kole. No.
Oh no, you guys know about that, right? Like I can't run for office because there exist pictures of me in a Nazi uniform.
Oh God.
I didn't know that.
No, because I was in The Sound of Music.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say. Yeah.
Not to make light
Can't be explained away. Yep.
Yeah, not to make light of any tragedy people have suffered in their own lives. No, so thank you so much for listening to episode number 124 of The Level. We super appreciate you taking the time, and we hope that you enjoyed it. If you would like to help us out, it's been a little while since we've gotten a review on iTunes. I know we talk about it a lot, but that is a great way to make a difference for us. It helps people see us. Also, this is a new thing. If you're on iOS and you're using the Overcast podcasting app, you can actually recommend us, and all of a sudden now the recommendation engine populates their top list. So Watch Out for Fireballs is now like on like the list of, like if you get Overcast and look for video game stuff, Watch Out for Fireballs is on there. And I would like that to happen across Duckfeed. So it is a free app. It is the best podcasting app I've ever found. And that is a way to help us out too. So those are two no-cost ways, in addition to the other ways you can find at Duckfeed.tv/tipjar to make a difference. Is there anything I'm forgetting, guys, besides the Facebook?
I think
Thanks for contributing to the Patreon and keeping it popping.
Yes, thank you very much. We are, we've got the Slack group, which we mention pretty much every episode. In addition, we've got a cool level themed postcard going out here pretty quick. It is sugar bone themed, rather.
Yeah, do not undersell this. It is freaking amazing.
Yeah, I was very happy with the way that it turned out. So yeah, that's going to be going out here soon. And yeah, just a bunch of other ways you can help us out and make cool stuff possible for the show. Yeah, so I have been Kole Ross at Kole Ross on Twitter.
I've been Dennis Furia at DFuria on Twitter.
I've been Ben Merkel at Merkelizer on Twitter.
And stick around for a discussion of the title. All right, does anybody have one they want to submit?
Lethal Weapons blazing.
I have it as Lethal Weapon blaring.
Okay,
All right.
that works. Something about you being a Nazi.
Nope.
Did it make the cut?
Not at all.
That's right. Vetoes do exist.
Dennis, how about you?
I was gonna say maybe like shit your flip, but
Yeah, that's going to be filtered out by
That's-
iTunes.
yeah.
All right, so here's what I've got.
There's so much censorship on this podcast. I feel like I'm in Nazi Germany.
God damn it.
This is all off air, I assume.
well, it goes after the credits. Nobody listens. Okay.
Good.
Someone's painting 2 rooms over.
Okay.
Lethal Weapon blaring. Goat balloon filter. Pokemon with full-grown men. Nothing but static.
I like goat balloon filter.
I like that one too.
Okay, I will start that. I was going to make a case for nothing but static, but here we go.
But this is the world we're living in. So.